In the frozen silence of the Arctic Ocean, a Russian warship cuts through the icy waves, its radar sweeping the horizon like a hunter searching for prey. Inside the operations room, tension is thick. Every operator knows that this isn't just another patrol. They've been tracking an unidentified object for hours, something deep, something fast, and something that doesn't belong here. A faint blip appears again on the sonar screen. The operator freezes. It's back. The signature doesn't match any known Russian vessel. Moments later, confirmation comes through. Its movements are precise, controlled, and unmistakably American. The crew of the Russian destroyer realizes what they've stumbled upon, a U.S. Navy submarine, moving silently beneath the Arctic ice. An order is given from Moscow: intercept and monitor. What happens next could change the course of global power. The Russian destroyer, armed with anti-ship and anti-submarine missiles, begins to close in on the unknown target. The temperature outside is below freezing, but inside the control room, sweat rolls down the backs of the officers. Everyone knows what's at stake. Thousands of miles away, aboard a U.S. Navy Virginia-class submarine, the mood is equally tense. The crew has been operating under strict stealth mode for weeks, gathering intelligence on new Russian naval movements near the Arctic Circle. Their mission was to observe, not engage, but now, they've been detected. The captain gives the quiet order: maintain silence. Hold position. The ocean, calm on the surface, hides a deadly game beneath. The Russian destroyer begins deploying active sonar pings, loud, echoing bursts of sound that cut through the depths like thunder underwater. The U.S. submarine crew listens to every ping with growing concern. Each echo means the Russians are getting closer. Above the surface, the destroyer's deck is a scene of controlled chaos. Sailors rush to battle stations. The radar shows multiple layers of signals: surface ships, underwater contacts, and aerial patrols. Russia has scrambled reconnaissance aircraft to the area. The entire region is now on alert. In the command room, the Russian captain looks at his radar officer. Lock tracking. Do not fire unless provoked. His voice is calm, but his eyes betray the pressure he's under. A single mistake here could ignite a chain reaction that neither side can control. At that same moment, deep below, the U.S. submarine activates its countermeasures, deploying decoys designed to confuse enemy sonar. A metallic pulse spreads through the water, scattering false echoes. On the Russian radar, multiple contacts suddenly appear. For a few moments, it looks like there are 3 or 4 submarines instead of one. The Russian officers stare at the screens in confusion. Multiple contacts detected. Someone shouts. The captain clenches his jaw. He knows this tactic well. The Americans are playing defense, trying to disappear in plain sight. He gives the order: hold fire. Keep tracking. Back in the U.S. Operations Center, far from the Arctic, the Pentagon is monitoring the situation through satellite feeds. Analysts exchange quiet words, watching live telemetry. If Russia launches, the U.S. will have to respond. No one wants a direct confrontation, but neither side can afford to appear weak. The standoff intensifies. The Russian destroyers' missiles are armed, guidance systems ready. The U.S. submarines' torpedoes are hot and primed. Every second feels like an eternity. One wrong interpretation, one misread signal, and war could begin in the cold silence of the Arctic. Inside the Russian ship, alarms blare. Target lock confirmed. An officer shouts. The American submarine has moved. Slightly, but enough for the targeting system to react. The captain hesitates. His hand hovers over the command console. Fire, and it's war. Wait, and it's risk. Then, suddenly, the radar lock vanishes. The target has gone completely dark. No signal, no sound, nothing. The U.S. submarine has cut all transmissions and gone into silent running mode, a move that turns it into a ghost beneath the sea. The Russian destroyer is blind. In that silence, every man on board realizes how close they are to the edge. One radar blip away from disaster. One misunderstood movement from a global crisis. The captain exhales and orders the radar to sweep again. Nothing. The contact is gone. But the Americans haven't fled. They're still there, hidden below, listening, recording, waiting. The submarine's captain decides to surface slightly, just enough to capture new sonar data. The U.S. crew can hear the destroyer's propellers circling above. Every sound is amplified in their headsets. Even a single metal clang could give away their position. In Washington and Moscow, both governments are now aware of the encounter. Back-channel communications quietly open. Neither side will publicly acknowledge what's happening, but each knows the other's next move could have world-changing consequences. Meanwhile, the Arctic weather worsens. Snow falls heavily, waves crash against the hull of the Russian destroyer, and visibility drops. The ship slows down to maintain control. Beneath the waves, the U.S. submarine takes advantage of the noise, shifting direction and slipping away under the cover of the storm. For the next 2 hours, both vessels move like predators in a fog, circling, scanning, testing each other's nerves. The Russians send out sonar drones, the Americans deploy listening buoys. It's a chess match in 3 dimensions, and every move has to be perfect. Then, a moment of near catastrophe. The Russian destroyer's sonar drone detects movement and misidentifies it as the submarine. The targeting system locks, and alarms echo through the ship. The missile tubes open. In the control room, a tense silence. The captain demands confirmation, but within seconds, they realize the error. It wasn't the American submarine, it was one of their own sonar drones returning. The order to abort goes out just in time. Had that missile launched, the United States would have immediately responded. The world would have woken up to breaking news of war in the Arctic. But tonight, disaster was avoided, barely. Down below, the U.S. submarine crew receives the sonar signature of the missile tubes opening. For them, it's the sound of death coming closer. The captain whispers, "Hold steady." They wait. 30 seconds pass. No launch. Relief washes through the control room, but nobody speaks. The silence is heavier than words. As dawn approaches over the Arctic, both sides begin to pull back. The Russians report the contact as resolve. The Americans log the incident as close encounter, no engagement. Neither side admits fault, and neither side forgets what happened. What makes this event so dangerous is not just the technology or the weapons involved, it's the psychology of deterrence. Each side is trying to show strength without crossing the line. The Russians want to prove they control the Arctic approaches. The Americans want to demonstrate that no part of the ocean is off limits to them. It's a message written in radar pings and sonar echoes, not words. Later analysis would show how close things came. Satellite data confirmed missile tubes opened on both sides. Electronic warfare logs recorded multiple jamming attempts. And for 6 minutes, both nations' strategic command systems went on heightened alert. 6 minutes that could have changed history. Experts describe incidents like these as near misses. But in military reality, they're silent. Warnings, reminders that even advanced systems are run by human hands, guided by human judgment, and prone to human error. As the Arctic sun rises, the sea returns to calm. The Russian destroyer continues its patrol. The U.S. submarine vanishes back into the depths. The world remains unaware of how close it came to disaster. And yet, in command rooms thousands of miles apart, intelligence officers replay the data, frame by frame. They study every movement, every sonar ping, every missed signal, searching for answers that might prevent the next close call. But everyone knows the truth. It's only a matter of time before another encounter happens again, somewhere else, in some other contested sea. Because this is the new face of modern warfare, where power isn't shown through open battles, but through silent confrontations. Where submarines shadow destroyers, satellites track every motion, and electronic ghosts fill the skies. A war of presence, not bullets. A war of signals, not blood. In the end, both captains made the right choice. They held the line. They didn't fire. And because of that, the world stayed intact for another day. But beneath the calm surface of the Arctic Ocean, one fact remains unchanged: the game never ends. The submarines are still there. The warships are still watching. And the line between peace and catastrophe remains just one radar lock away.